Elon Musk says the big beautiful budget is in fact a, quote, disgusting pork-filled abomination that will drive America into debt slavery. He is not alone. Senator Ron Johnson calls the cuts, quote, wimpy and anemic. Congressman Tom Massey calls the bill a ticking time bomb. So can we fix it? The so-called big beautiful bill is part of the annual budget for next year. It's not the whole budget. They'll do an additional one to handle so-called discretionary spending, which is everything government spends outside welfare and government benefits like Medicaid. The problem, of course, is Big Beautiful cuts almost nothing. The cuts are overwhelmingly postponed to a future Congress, while these spending hikes are immediate. This means it raises the deficit by at least $4 trillion over the next decade, which would bring annual deficits to $2.5 trillion in the near term, stretching towards $3 trillion in a few years. Meanwhile, it helpfully raises the debt ceiling by $4 trillion, the biggest ever. All this from a GOP Congress who spent roughly a century promising to cut spending if only we elect them. Now, in theory, the Senate could still fix it. Unfortunately, the Senate will almost certainly make the bill worse. Because if you thought rhinos in the House are bad, say hello to the Senate. Senate rhinos are already talking about hiking spending on Medicaid, hiking spending on green energy, and even federal worker benefits, with Republicans like this who need Democrats. So what would a good bill look like? Ideally, it would include discretionary cuts, since that's where the waste and fraud lives. So USAID, EPA, the constellation of crony slush funds that keep the deep state in million-dollar waterfront mansions in Potomac. GOP leadership claims discretionary cannot be in the bill because of a procedural rule, the Byrd Rule. But in fact, the existing bill has discretionary. It's just all hikes in discretionary spending, including our grotesquely bloated military, which has not passed an audit in 35 years. Now, discretionary matters because that's how to codify the $175 billion of DOGE cuts. But even without discretionary, there is a ton of room to improve the spending. So Senators Rand Paul, Ron Johnson, and Mike Lee want to reduce Medicaid and food stamp for the able-bodied, which seems like a no-brainer, want to reduce or eliminate federal subsidies for student loans, and repeal all of Biden's green energy handouts, as well as cutting military spending that apparently pays for other people's civil wars and patrols the Red Sea so Europe and China can trade, something maybe they should be paying for. But maybe the worst part is the current bill bundles the debt ceiling with the budget. Now, given Democrats are afraid to shut down government, that throws away any leverage for those future discretionary spending cuts. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Unfortunately, this disgusting pork-filled abomination is about as good as it gets from the rhinos in Congress. Given Trump is still backing the bill, perhaps for tactical reasons to keep Congress Republican, there is zero chance it gets better. It will get worse in the Senate. Republican primaries are coming up in 9 months. If Republican voters care enough, they'll start replacing rhinos with actual conservatives. If not, we're facing an ocean of red ink for decades or until bond markets finally break, at which point, as always, nobody saw it coming. Read the rest with charts and all the gory details at ProfStateKnowledge.com. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.